and using the BRT road infrastructure. All of those three connections are completed, right? What you will see is that we will have an interplay of a single solution of payment, the cowrie card, right? We went on the train when we did infrastructure, card will open up. At the Lag Ferry is the cowrie card they're using. On the buses as well is the cowrie card they're going to. So it's a single payment solution designed by young Nigerians, Lagosians, and we're seeing it is working very, very well. So the plan eventually is to be able to reduce journey time. You know, Tokwe, is to ensure that you as a mother, you can fairly predict your journey. A journey that hitherto will probably take you about an hour and a half or something. How can we reduce it to 30, 40 minutes?
We have a lot of
so that you can improve the quality of your life. You know, you can pretty much determine when you need to get out and when you need to come in, right? And also to make Lagos in a resilient urban, you know, working city for all of you, right? Maybe we're not full. We have a clear vision. We have a walkthrough that will take us there.
So I live on Badagry Express.
Absolutely, I know.
And so I've seen all your work. I don't have anything to complain about, but just a little, because it's not just there yet.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for what you've done. I remember the state it was in when you came in and when you visited and promised, and it's been delivered, especially at the trade fair where my community you know, enters and goes into the express. But I see the work going on, and I see so many other factors affecting it, especially Nupeng's activities there. Constantly, because they need to access the depot, are locked in. How do you plan to subsequently manage that? This past month has been neck deep in stress for us living in that community. Also, on that Badagry Expressway, I'm aware that from the Erikmo to Okoko is the Lagos State out. Yes, they're building the bridges overhead, but we need the ramps, like you know you have on the Ikorodu Expressway, where you're going. Maybe your community is just 2 steps ahead. You can exit.
I understand.
So, what exactly is the plan? We've talked with the SA, and she insists that the design is different.
No, okay.
So, I live there. I think it's not practical.
Well, okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for the comments you said. So the plan around that corridor, right, is to continue to improve, you know, apart from the right of way, you know, so it's a road that either towards 4 lanes, 2 lanes that we have turned to 10 lanes, 10 lanes, right? So you can see it's more than double the number, right? And so the plan is to have 1 BRT corridor, have 1 lane for BRT, the most inward lane, have 2 express road, then I have 2 outer road. Right, so on the bypass you're talking about, if, for example, you are coming in from Eric, you know that at some point in time, you know, before you get to Festac or wherever it is you're going to tee off, make sure that you will leave the express road and go on the service lane. It's when you're on the service lane that you can now get out. If you come out from Festac and you're going to be coming out at Abuja again, why would you want to enter the express road? Stay on the service lane and just continue to go until when you get to Abuja or you get to trade. They want to get to, you know, Agbara and begin to go to Badagry faster and quicker, and that's what we promise. But if you are moving from, you know, from Festa to Agboju to Satellite Town to this, you cannot. But I understand the challenge. The challenge which you talked about is Nupeng, for example. We're sitting with NNPC. Okay, so this is a challenge. Which one should we follow? That corridor strategically feeds about 65% of the total fuel corridor of this country. That's where you have all the tank farms there. I didn't create it, right? It's a national issue that we really cannot. And that's why, if we look at it, we didn't wait for federal government. That Buba Marwa road that I'm doing is cost us close to 10 billion, right? This is a federally used road by all of the tankers that she's talking about.
The construction.
And they will not even allow, because we're waiting for the concrete is like this, that we're trying to finish up for them. So that would be some sort of a continuous conversation that we need to have with NNPC. We don't control Nupeng. So they will tell you that if you don't give them access as well, there won't be fuel in Auchi. There won't be fuel in every part of the country. So it's something that we need to continue to solve and dialogue upon. But to say to you, you know, Nima, I know you need a lot of bypass roads, you know, that Ojo. So Iru, Musafejo, and all of it, we're doing Afro Media, we're continuing to do those inner roads so that you can indeed have relief. You know, not just on the express road. You know, we'll finish, you know, Navy Town Road very soon. We're on Old Ojo Road, so that we can have alternative. So like the one you're talking about, if you don't need to go on the express road, go on Old Ojo Road, and it's long, it's a couple of like 6-7 kilometers, and we're doing it. The phase 1 of it is 60, and they've started. So you could see solution that were thought through, and it's happening, and we're going to do.
Let's talk with John because there's so many questions and we have to use this 1 hour.
So many.
So go ahead.
One, I need to appreciate what you've done in Ekpe. For all of us in the real estate space, your video is our biggest marketing tool. We just show your video and people start buying, and we have to appreciate that. But whenever I'm going to Ekpe, it is war.
Yeah.
And it's been a very, very, in the past 2 years. Two challenges that has been going on. One, a lot of people are coming into this country, into Lagos, and they become beggars on the road. So you're stopping along that Lekki axis just for traffic light, and they just gather you. They are not criminals, but they are begging. And there's a way, you know, it's just inhuman for a human being to just leave them on the road like that. I believe that there's an industry around them because they come there, children, babies, all of that. And it can pose a potential risk in the future. So I want to find out from you, what is Lagos State's plan to reduce the number of mothers and children that are allowed to be on the road begging? That for me is a major question. Let me just.
I thought you were talking about traffic.
Then the traffic.
Okay, so I thought he was actually good because he said Ekpe.
Yes,
so let's take it back.
Yes.
And Tokwe, let's be analytic about it. So we've done an 18-kilometer road from Eleko Junction to Ekpe.
I see it.
2 lanes, we've turned to 6 lanes. Nema, they will not tell you. Rigid pavement. 2 lanes
No, I've seen it,
to 6 lanes. Highest ever level of concrete. That's phase 1 of it, completed. The phase 2 of it now start from Eleko Junction. We're coming all the way to Aja. It's 33 kilometers. We're turning it into 6 lanes as well. And they see contractors there working. She said a few things. It's the highest real estate development corridor that we cannot even keep abreast with. You know, so when you have all of those challenges, right, to solve them, right, it becomes Herculean because as we are laying the solutions, right, other things are coming. So we are the bane of our own, you know, successes. Each time we are succeeded, we're attracting a lot more people onto this corridor, you know, and so that's what you see. So Tokwe saw that indeed the roads are beginning to get widened up, right, and we're doing a 10-kilometer regional road, which is a bypass from VGC all the way to Freedom Road, right, 6 lanes. We're not doing 1, 2, 3 lanes, 6 lanes. We're taking it head on just for us to be able to solve it, right? So those are some of the things that we're doing on the infrastructure. And the big one, which we promised Nigerians, Lagosians, we're going to announce before the end of the year, was on the 30th, which is the 4th mainland bridge, which will start from your corridor as well, from Abraham Adesoya all the way, climbing the bridge, you know, to Ikorodu, you know, and to sort of like solve like an M25 solution. That's the concept, and I think it's important for us to have. But she had questions, you know, which is closer to Lekki phase 1 and phase 2 on issues around, you know, women and children on the street. So it's a double that Nigerians, these are your citizens that are looking for sustenance, that are looking for livelihood on a daily basis. I tell you, we go clear them almost every week, but they find themselves there. So is the solution for me to say that I want to pack them to another part of the country? No. The solution is we continue to build additional homes, you know, and continue to give them solutions where they can become useful to their family, you know, train them, see how we can take them up and give them skills, you know, so that they become, you know, providers of jobs themselves. Right. That's the solution. It's a national issue. And you don't need a visa to come into Lagos. So it's not me that have created that inclusion.
When we come back, we continue this conversation with our guests. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, And last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw ether material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs,
Amadi. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, my brother.
You love that intro, Abby.
It was great. Thank you.
Shay, you didn't whine me. You're whining me now.
I think I'll drink.
Huh?
No problem.
Okay.
I've always known this as ISO. I never bothered to know what it means. I know what it means, but I never bothered to know what the acronym is. Tell me the brand of camera that I use, so much so that I even became an ambassador. That's very easy. It's out there.
It's supposed to be,
Yeah. I just said, look, I give you this one as a token of my appreciation.
Sony.
Drink!
I'm not done. You did not say final answer.
It's final answer.
You did not ask me if that was my final
You don't
answer.
have any choice again. It's only
Nikon.
how many cameras do they have? My
Nikon.
friend to drink. I gave you a very easy something.
Nikon now.
All right, so I wanted to talk about another things your critics always say. Because they see that you are a huge supporter of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's coming into office. and they talk about these blueprints that Lagos State, blueprints, they blueprint from Fashola, from this person, they went this. I said, where is this blueprint, Morayo? Have you your own eyes seen the blueprint? He said, because it must be a document, or it's not just an ideology that's being passed from people. But could you tell us, why do people give Asiwaju credit for a lot of things we see in Lagos? Is there a real connection?
Okay. No, they said Lagos already existed before he was governor. So why is he being given credit for building Lagos?
Thank you very much. And I see these are, instructive learning point that we need to put forward. So I joined him with all sense of humility 20 years ago. I was a general manager in my bank with a corner office. November 2002, precisely, so about 20 years ago. And we had criticized government 3-4 years, 2-3 years before then. And I had that real opportunity. I appointed a development document. We also have what we call a 10-point agenda, right? It's like what I call a team's agenda now. 10-point agenda had, revenue generation, transportation, public this, public that. All of that were encapsulated in the last seeds and in the seed of which are economic documents. Well, we set up and started the Mbeti document and becomes a working paper that you can live with moving forward, right? So in that is only 8 years as government, as governor. I worked with him closely for at least 5 years. 1 year before the end of his first tenure and the entire 4 years of his second tenure. So I was commissioner for economic planning. So I was part of all of those documents that were developed. Lamata, for example, that we talked about, it's not out of place. We had that robust, he set up Lamata with the World Bank. In 2002, 2000, I was one of the people that first recruited the first set of people that worked in Lamata. It was a World Bank, one of the best World Bank, transport infrastructure, agencies that anybody can see in the world. So those are, and it was the beginning of democracy, 1999. Coming from a military rule where it's not a government of inclusiveness. Now starting up in 1999 with a government that include the citizens, listen to them, have an engagement, more like an all-inclusive role. So that was how that blueprint was developed. And they had like a 20-year development plan, which of course BRF also improved upon, took away some, add on to it, Ambode, similar thing. Ourselves, that's really what it means. And because there's also been continuity in all of these things, we were able to see what the challenges of the previous government is, what are the things you need to take on and use very quickly, and have, a springboard movement into your own government. So that's one of the things that have helped us. And so we give him that credit because he was the one that was able to bake the first, retinue of very intelligent, people that
Let me take this call. Yakub, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
Our first caller of the year.
Good
morning.
Yeah, thanks to you. Because of the time. Good morning, Mr. God. Because Lagos is working fully. Because I can say that in my area here, as I'm talking to you, a lot of streets is under construction and like almost 10 at a time. I've never seen that before, but I also have a controversial question, and then I wouldn't like Mr. Governor to bend that answer. You should go straight to that answer and give it to us so that you know. The question is this, sir. If you are moving in Lagos State as a commercial board, you will see all these, are you listening to me?
Yes.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. This NURCW, we want to know all this money they were collected from the commercial board because it takes a lot of money. Where this money is going to, where are they remit the money to? Are they remit this money to Lagos State government board or they are spending the money to national board? We want to know because they collect a lot of money without not using it for anything. Okay,
that's a fair question. Let me let you answer.
Well, I mean, so you're right. There are issues that we need to resolve, with, the transportation sector. And you see, we started. At some point, we actually prescribed them, right? And that's why we set up, the parking authority so that indeed we can sit with them and we're beginning to get a lot more mileage than what it was 6-8 months ago, right? We're not fully out of it yet because it's a system that has been in existence for decades. So you're not going to one day just sleep and wake up and it's all changing. They sit with us now, and Odumosu, who was a former, CP, right, heads that parking authority, right, with the former permanent secretary in Ministry of Tourism, and so these are very seasoned civil servants that are sitting with them and ensuring that these are the rules of engagement in which you need to get cleared up. And they'll tell us, okay, give us 1 week, give us 1 month for us to change all of these things. So these are citizens that we also need to understand that they are stakeholders in some sort, right? But we need to be able to bring bear, right? Some level of, organization in the things that they do. And we're getting around it, and it's getting improved.
Okay.
Part of the things that we see is also the level of recklessness that also happens with their national body. A lot of the money are actually shipped to Abuja at their national body, which is the truth.
And the money is staying home.
And we're saying to them, what are you also using these interventions for? How are you retraining your drivers, your conductors, for them to be best behaved, right? How are you going to refleet your vehicles? Exactly. Ensure that these vehicles are not rickety, they're not run down, they're not tearing people's. You don't go on a bus and you come out, with one leg, cut off and rest of. So these are the conversations, and we're helping them.
Are they the same drivers?
You need to include them in something. So there are other transport companies that are private transport companies, right? That are actually the ones, running this.
Okay, let me take Yakub, or not Yakub, Miss Hassan from Lekki. Hassan, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year.
To the executive members and the executive governor of Lagos.
Yes, sir.
Let me congratulate you first, Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
Thank you.
For taking the bull by the horn, by fighting 2 major wars in the ground state, EndSARS and COVID. Congratulations for your performance.
Thank you.
Secondly, Mr. Governor, we saw the infrastructure that is going on in Lagos State. Under your leadership, your predecessor, and the first predecessor, Mr. Alhaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, your mentor, the mentor of Nigeria, a progressive governor, a leader, a father, and a communicator.
Hassan, do you have a question? You don't have time more.
Problem here is this. Mr. Governor, please, you have some other small things to do for us.
Yeah.
You see this in our road, in Lekki area, need to be looked into.
Okay.
Come to Money Road, come to all these settlement areas, flexing from Abuja.
Okay.
So I have.
Okay, so we got the point. So I go beyond the inner road. Yes. Not just Lekki, across the state.
No,
what are we doing?
Inner routes generally.
Yeah.
So as we speak, we're working with the local government first. We're doing 114 inner roads. With the 57 local, we said to them, let's take 2, right? And let's help you jointly to fix them. That's one. The Public Works Bureau, because Lagos has over 10,000, roads in one form or the other. The Public Works Bureau at any point in time have about 200 roads that they are trying to fix or patch. The Lekki, the challenge there is also the level of use, and the amount of development that is happening there. And so one of the things that we plead with people, when you fix those roads and there's another construction coming, by the time they bring all of the trucks and the rest of it, and they are piling, granites and all of the things onto the drainages, it gets blocked. These are some of the challenges that we have to be able to do, because they are not completely built up yet. So each time when you go back there, you see, they are culprits, So you see that they will have tilted, all of their gravel and sand, block the drainage, and you have to come and excavate and clean them up again. These are some of it, and they destroy some of the drainage.
We have to. We're out of time. Let me let Mariam jump in.
Projects and what you do for many, top personalities. I remember when you first came in, when you said that you prefer to be referred to as Mr. Governor. Yes. And also many times people will talk about the fact that you're being controlled by someone, or and here we are talking to you, and if you see the messages also on social media, the response is, this is a man who's on ground, who knows what he's doing. So I would like to know what motivates you. Why do you do what you do, and why do you do it so well? Is it because you have to answer to someone, or what is it that motivates you personally to do the work you're doing in Lagos State?
It's a position of humility. It's a position in which you need to be grateful to God, right? Given my very humble background, right? When you have the unique, rare opportunity to serve over 20 million, rising sign of modern Africa, I think you wake up every day thankful to God, with the opportunity, asking God to give you every energy that you require to be able to serve them, right? And so for me, it's really around understanding what the social contract with my citizens are. Let me tell you, today we have 147 days to the end of our first tenure. I've done almost 90% of my time. I count it every day. Every day I review and I ask myself, how well have I done? So for me, it's a measurement that I give myself every day. Out of 1,460 days, we've done about 1,300 and something. We've got about 147, 147. Yes. So with that level of measurement, I'm not waiting, to the end of it to say, what did I do? So I understand that you have a responsibility to your citizens, a will, a commitment to put on the table. I'll give you a simple example. There's some telephones that I see in the morning, I get scared to pick. Why? Because the guys on the other side are not calling to tell me good morning. They're telling to tell me that a container just fell off. They're coming to tell me that there's a fire incident. And I need to get up, I need to give instructions, I need to encourage them, I need to give them a clear instruction of how we need to clear and deal with that issue. And these are some of the things that continue to keep you going.
Let me get a few comments from
so, Millie is talking about the Lagos-Abeokuta road. So they say I'm selfish for focusing on my side.
Yes.
They want to know why the road from Meron to Ahmadiyya inwards Abeokuta is not finished. Said it's in a bad state. Said that also an abandoned pedestrian bridge at Kola bus stop in Alagbado. What are you?
Okay, well, it's very specific. I probably won't know where Kola bus stop is in Alagbado. But I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago, we still went to commission, 2 critical roads in Alimosho to the border of the state. The Ishegun Camp David Road. No, this is a 7.8 kilometer road. Major artery, dual carriageway. Ishuti Road, 3.7 kilometer, dual carriageway, up until the border of Ogun State. These are major inner roads. And I was still there 2 weeks ago, right? In the first 2 years, we commissioned 31 roads at Ojokoro, which is also a border town.
Those are
with
Lagos-Abeokuta road is a straight.
So Lagos-Abeokuta road
is along that.
Exactly. Lagos is a federal road. This is a road in which the Honourable Minister for Works, believe me, and I believe that there is part of the things that
let me take this call because I have very little time left. Mr. Adeyemi from Ijushaga really wants to talk to you. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
So many people.
Hello, good morning.
You're live. You go ahead, Adeyemi.
Yes, I want to thank Mr. Governor for all that he's doing. I follow him closely on Instagram and I see all the updates of all the projects. It keeps updating us about things, the projects done in Lagos State, the milestones and everything. I am really proud of Governor Sanwo-Olu. Thank you so much for all you do. And secondly too, because in areas like Epe are opening up, the roads are being built, it has given us middle and low-income earners the ability to invest in real estate. Thank you so much, Mr. Governor.
Omolajo Olatunji says, I'm highly impressed by Mr. Governor's articulate responses to questions and policy issues. He's far more composed and has a firm grip of everything happening around him. Truly, I'm happy and would campaign for his re-election. Well done, sir.
You see, you can't come on Your View and I don't ask you about family because that's what our show is about. Yes, we do politics, governance, but I have to ask about your wife. I mean, I've had an opportunity to speak to her. She's been quiet, reserved. She hardly speaks. Like first ladies, I'm in charge. She's hardworking. She's a professional. She dots her I's and cross her T's. I mean, you can't take anything past her. Say she'll bring your file. She will look at it. But tell us about your wife. We don't.
Thank you. Well, that's one part that it's always been very well. We're in public, so we cannot be public, right? I mean, I'm grateful to her. Right, she's a woman that has sort of like complemented the role that God has given us now, very, very, with all sort of dignity, right? Like you said, she's a medical doctor herself. She loves kids a lot. I wish she would have 7 kids.
How many do you have?
I'm a father of the state. I have children that call me their dad. So if I go all and say there's only 3 or 4, I'll get in trouble with them, So let all of them feel that I'm still their dad, even outside of government, So, but for her, it's really about putting everything she has also learned as a lady, to put it to work, right? And I see the complementary role support, for our time, and I wish her all the very, very best as well.
Oh,
right.
Okay, so we have to go ahead.
Because we've had, Maria said we have some people saying things, and it would be wrong for us not to be able to let you clear air on that. There are several times people have made it look like you're implementing these decisions that you're not the one making those decisions. They make it look like, oh, because you have this very calm man and you're always listening.
You, a puppet.
Yes, that somebody is instructing you, you're doing what they want, that Asiwaju is running Lagos. We've heard that over and over
So I can
again.
answer very simply, one of the strongest points of a leader, right, is people to underrate you. It's people to think. Right? I mean, that's, and you don't have to be in people's face to get it done. All you have to do is roll off your sleeves and get the job done. And check it. Integrity is what I live with. As a treasurer in a bank, my word is my bond. I give commitments and I keep to those commitments. I say I'll finish something in December. I will do everything to ensure that I finish it in December. By the way, Asiwaju has moved on to Abuja for the past 6 years. For the past 6 years. He lives 85% of his time in Abuja. I've not spoken to him in a week. In a week. But a father is a man that I respect personally, and I cannot take it away. So people will look for things. But are we keeping our eyes on the ball? Yes. Are we doing the things Lagosians want us to do? Yes.
So do you have such a relationship with BRF?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I still spoke with him 3-4 days ago. He's my leader, he's my boss. He's a Surulere boy like myself. We knew ourselves way back.
What are just chances? Lagos State, some would say, is somewhat fragmented. Like, there are people from different places who are believe in certain parties and other parties. People would think, in the past, we say, oh, it's an APC state, but now people cannot confidently say, are you sure Lagos State is still an APC state?
No, we are confident. It's an APC state.
Okay.
And you can see the APC government doing everything to ensure that we get it. It's absolutely very bright, extremely very bright. But we'll not leave everything to chance. We will continue to engage people. We will not say that, we're about one side of divide. It's inclusive to ensure that he gives in his very best, right, to every Nigerian that is possible for him to reach out.
I'm so sorry. We'll get to the question about potable water over and over again.
So water is a challenge, and I'll be here to be honest with you. It's true. It's a challenge, and it's because we need to go raise funding that is required to fix it, and it's a lot of money. We're talking about 100 billion, 150 billion. So what are we doing? We have a major water work, in Iju and Adion, right? We're building from what we have now, currently 70 million gallons per day, which is running at less than 50%. Because these are built in 1970, and it's not cheap. It's all
going to be running the second term.
Is it next month?
It's next month. Why January?
No, mine is March.
Oh, yours is March.
But I'm involved in February.
So the point is, I'd like you to final word to Lagosians. Why should they vote you in? Again, why do you think you are the leader for Lagos?
Well, thank you very much, ladies, and thank you very much for having me. You say that in the last, 3 years and about 7 months, it's been a unique opportunity experience for me. Like I said, I've done about 89% of my time, right? But the beauty of it is that we've kept faith with all of the things, that we said we're going to do under the team's agenda. We didn't have time to talk about tourism, about security, about housing, what we've done over 17 projects, about all of the roads that we've done. We will not say that we've scored everything, but we will say to you that with all sense of responsibility, we've earned our bill. We've dealt with, year on year, we keep making 85% of our budget performance. We've doubled our budget size in 3 years, even in a COVID rundown environment. We're doing roads in almost every part of the city concurrently. Concurrently, we're building these things, concurrently, and so we have so much energy to still give on. And so what we're asking for is, don't let there be distractions. Yes, it's politics. So people will say that, is this, is that, it collects this and all of that. And people will show you pictures that are 10, 15 years old. It's all politics. But I want to say to all of them, let's join hands. See a train that is moving. Join the train. And because we have an opportunity to do this quicker, better, and faster for another 4 years.
They said 2 hours won't cut it.
Oh, absolutely. So we hope to bring it because it took 3.5 years to bring
it. Oh my God.
But I will see if hopefully when we'll try to bring it back again very soon, hopefully to get more from. But thank you so much, sir.
Thank
you. It was a pleasure having you on our show today.
That's
all we can take on today's show. We'll be speaking with the governor, one of our favorite governors. Yeah, number 1, and I think it is number 2. But yes, from my own list. But it was fantastic having our governor on the show today. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much for a fantastic day.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Of the year, it's the season of joy and happiness. We're so glad we are here, in spite of all that we have been through in the earth. We have so many reasons to smile. Friends and families, and we are looking ahead with hope and with expectation. Together for growth, walking hand in hand, we can make it a very amazing and happy
Premium greetings from Premium Trust Bank.
Why put yourself through the stress of pounding when you have Native Tastemaker Deli Dawa?
It smells like Iru and Dawa.
Yes, Deli Dawa is a powdery seasoning made from fermented locust beans and is processed under hygienic conditions. Deli Dawa gives that native aroma to your vegetable soup, egusi soup, mian taushe, mian kuka, and other native meals. Go get your Deli Dawa at the nearest market today. Deli Dawa, made from fermented locust beans. Deli Dawa, Native Tastemaker.
This story is about Timilein Johnson.
Elijah, how will you get into town every day?
I could show you, sir. I never knew his family, but I didn't think you needed to know someone's pain to share it.
Now this says you belong here.
Let's give it up for Giga Babata! At 358 pounds! Let's give it up for Destroyer!
What is your fear? Beneath the appearance of incredible infrastructure, standard facilities, and beautiful amenities, our estates at Adron Homes come affordable with great discounts and flexible payment plans. No stress, no hassles. Beat your fears and take that bold step today. Subscribe to own your property. Adron Homes.
Building cities, communities, and homes.
Specific. Let me take you to the presidential election, sir. You worked under the current candidate for APC, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and there are obviously, like I said, a lot of Nigerians feel like there's options. We have options and we feel displeased with the current administration because of some of the policies carried out. What would you say are the chances of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu winning this election at this point in time?
Well, I mean, again, I think Nigerians must look at three things. For me, what have you done? What is your capacity? And what is your network? The network is how are you able to assemble people across this country that can do the job for you? Look, the reality is that if you are a governor or a president, nobody plans to fail. Nobody. There is nobody that will say, I will become a governor and go and fail. It is the capability that becomes a problem when you get there. And then the ability to have a vision and stay with it and be bold. So that's why you see that in other parts of the world. Let's look at United Kingdom, everywhere that we all say. All the prime ministers of UK, look at the school they went to. Go and check it. Boris Johnson, Cambridge. So now go and look at it. So capability to actually assimilate things is very important. What have you done in terms of your work? So for me, honestly, it's a very easy decision for me. And I'm not biased because I will tell you a story. When I joined this cabinet because he headhunted me. I was working with Morgan Stanley and they came over there to do mortgages. I was the only black man in the room. And they said, which Hamzat is yours? What are you doing here? What were you doing here when you were here too? No, so we engaged in, and then they were doing Oracle. At that time, the state of New York have not started Oracle. The state of New York started Oracle in 2012. At that time, Nike was doing Oracle. They spent $17 million. With all those Nike, they canceled it. At that time, the success rate of implementing ERP, which Oracle is part of, is 10% globally. Meaning only 10 will start within budget and within time. Lagos State was able to implement it. That's why you don't hear ghost worker. During implementation, we even know of ghost level. Ghost level. That's why we're able to do that. So automating the process of Lagos. So people say the IGR went up. It didn't just go up. It went up because of automation. If we are all friends, we can't do the same thing the same way. But technology allows you to automate your process. It allows you to repeat it. It allows you to predict it. That's what he has done in Lagos. So now today, various states are doing the same thing. They came to Lagos to come and learn. Fine. But so in terms of capability, all of them have been in positions. Abubakar Atiku has been vice president. Mr. Obi has been governor. Asiwaju has been governor. Kokonso has been governor. Let's look at the records. So we shouldn't be sentimental as a people. If not, we will miss it. And I pray we don't miss it. So the question is, what have you done? The governor of Anambra State today, Mr. Soludo, went to the VP to say 40% of my state is under erosion. We all did geography. Did the erosion start in one day? So which means the people behind did not see the future. But how do you then compare that with somebody that saw Eco Atlantic when Victoria Island will have disappeared? Victoria Island will have disappeared because at the time that they built the Tinkan Island, they used 3 molds. Each mold is about 6 floors to build that Tinkan Island in 1906. And we never, as a people, went back to take care of it. So erosion. Because when we were in primary school, when we go to Babish, you walk about 2 kilometers. So the idea of Eco Atlantic is to take it back to where its natural course was. And that was it. Federal government was pumping sand every year and it's washing away. 1.5 billion. It will just go away because the ocean will take over. Somebody said, no. What is the problem? They said, okay, in that case, we must convert this liability to asset. What do we need to do? We need to build groins like they do everywhere. And that was it. So to compare somebody like that has the vision to say, when it started Lekki, we were talking about land. When it started the Lekki Free Trade Zone, the our MD was killed by the locals because they didn't want to give the land. We said, look, it's better for you. What are you doing with this land? Now they have 5% stake in that land. Today is the highest industrial place in our country. Today you have the port there. 3 times the size of Apapa and Tenkan. 3 times the size. Our port in Nigeria has become a transshipment port because it's not deep. So they will stay in the middle of the ocean and then they will use it small to come and carry. So ships that are supposed to come, discharge within a week, they stay 3 months. So it doesn't make sense for them to come to Nigeria. They were going to Togo, for God's sake. Now, with Lekki Seaport, any ship can come there today. Somebody has that thought. So how do you compare a lion to a goat? It does, it's scary for me that there's
even a conversation
that we don't see it. Because like I said, people have records. Look at their records.
That's why we ask so that we get reminded.
Please, let us. So I'm talking to this population. So look at the records. No, don't let it be sentimental. This is a bias. I don't care. That's between you and your God. What you worship is your business. It's not my business. It's only even God. I've run election and I know it's only God that knows if you're a Christian or a Muslim. It's only God. Because the things that people tell you, the people that you think of, so let's forget it.
So let's talk about the continuity of this person's relevance in the sense that government after government after government within Lagos State still recognize all that you have talked about, and this has, on the other way, been criticized as godfatherism. What would you like to say about that?
So I recall during BRF, he liked Singapore a lot.
Yes.
Because Singapore, a nation that has no resources, nothing. They have an agreement with Indonesia 100 years to import sand. Malaysia 100 years to import water. They have nothing. And they become one of the best countries in the world. So it's knowledge. It's knowledge. Absolute knowledge. Now, we have a population in this country that has been getting PhDs all over the world. So what is our problem? What exactly is our problem? It's knowledge. But we keep worrying about something on the ground, oil, this, and we forget our human capacity, which is the most important. So when we went to Singapore, we met Lee Kuan Yew with BRF. The first question he asked us is, what is your succession plan as a governor? There is no success without succession. No success. Because it's easy to destroy anything. You can build a nation for 50 years, in 2 years it can be destroyed.
Yeah. Wow.
And we've seen it around the world. Yeah. Somali used to be a fantastic country. Today, what is it? You can't even have this conversation.
Yes.
So the reality is, when people say godfatherism, look, if somebody has walked a path, and I'm going to walk that path, I better ask.
Follow.
Not even to follow, but to say, when you are walking this path, where were the problems? There's problem here. You better don't go here. So it's just natural way of living a life. Ask people that has experience. Even in MB, because of ABC, but they will tell you the truth. And they are from different parts of the state. So they will tell you, no, in my own area, your policy is not working. So you need that. So the idea to say, as a governor, I'll be told, no, there's nothing like that, because you don't know everything. So you need people that will also tell you, look, you are making a mistake here. So the idea that, like you said, it was during Ashwaju that we started the Lagos Metropolitan Transport Authority, this Lamata, because they have a master plan to say they design, at that time, 7 rail lines, the blue, the red, the green, whatever it is.
Let me, because people don't realize,
yes, I would like to say that, having said all that he's done in Lagos State, and everyone is listening to you, what would you be saying to Nigerians now that if we have a Nigeria with Bola Ahmed Asiwaju Tinubu as president, what would you be getting? Maybe Nigerians should also see that.
So the truth is this, he's a fighter. So, and he has always fought for the less privileged. And I will tell you, remember, when PDP was in government, and he was the only AC governor, there was nothing thrown at him to come to PDP. They promised him the whole world. And he said, why? I don't believe in your principles. Now, he's a fighter. When he believes in something, he will do it. And why I like him is that as a commissioner, when we agree on something, it doesn't matter the problem you now confront. How much? It's whatever, and it keeps rotating.
Yes.
People make $200 an hour, Nigerians, in the IT sector in the US. Today, that I know a lot of them. So the reality is, there are enough people out there that can really help this country. How do you bring them in? Not because they know somebody or because they don't know anybody. So that is what Asiwaju does. He will look for the best brain and let's say, how do we fix this country? Let's sit down. So like I said, when he became governor, he has a master plan. He brought people together, all of them, experts on health. And that template, all we just need to do is to review it. That's why we do it in Betty Summit every 2 years. It used to be every year. But we realized that because we make commitments, we must fulfill this commitment. So if they come in a problem to fulfill 80% within a year. So we said, let's do 2 years. And people come with practical experiences around the world. So we need somebody that can really attack the issue of this country, and that's the man for you.
I like the fact that you mentioned that he's a visionary. But one of the concerns of many Nigerians is he's a visionary, but he's also growing to an age where he needs to rest. Okay. How visionary will he be when he gets into position and he needs to be taking rest back to back? And also, Nigeria is bigger than just one state, Lagos State.
Absolutely.
Yes, we have many issues in the country, many issues across cultures in the country. Now, do you think that even with having a blueprint on what he intends to do, he will be able to cover the needs of Nigerians across the cultures, across the states, across the local government? Do you think that capacity is still there, considering that he's getting to an age where he needs to rest?
Well, I mean, thank you very much. It's a legitimate question. It's a very nice question. So there are two components to life. So as you also age, you tend to have better experience, but less energy as you age. And that is natural. But like I told you, the job of a president, in my view, is easier than the job of a governor, in my view. And I will tell you why. A president has over 600 parastatals. Let us look at a country that I just mentioned, Singapore. It's the parastatals that get jobs done, not ministries. And what does that mean? Because they are nimble, they are smaller. So your responsibility as president is, okay, how do I make sure that I have the right people, the right organizations to do this job and monitor? Monitoring today is technology. So like in Lagos, like I said, we have a dashboard. So I can monitor the Ministry of Health. All these projects you say you are doing, is it being done? Where are we? So remember what Vice President Atiku said then, that they spent $1.6 billion or whatever, and there was no power, because there was no monitoring. By the time they realized it, everywhere is bush. And he said that there was no executive council meeting that they held in the last 18 months that did not give approval on power. But who was monitoring? They meant well, but there's no deployment of technology to monitor that. Okay, you said, oh, you are doing this. Those are the governors, the Fasholas, the Sanwo-Olu that do well is because they have a monitoring model. So Asiwaju, we have a monitoring model. Now, if you read the Renew Hope, what are the things that is said there? Commodity exchange. How is it that we produce cocoa and we don't determine the price? We are stupid. I'm sorry. The reality is that our farmers do everything, but when...
We cannot negotiate better deals.
All these countries don't produce a single cocoa and they determine the price for us. So let us have a commodity exchange where we, just like stock market, where we determine prices of within Africa. So we started Nigeria first. So what that does is it gives farmers more advantage. They know that their product will sell. Until if you go to Taraba State, I served in it was Gongola then, Taraba State. Taraba State can produce rice in 3 months that can feed this country.
I can't testify to that.
No, I know. You know, I've been to Mambila. It's green all through the years. It's green all through the years. So the reality is we have this information. How do you now get it done?
Managing.
So you need somebody that first of all understand that this is possible. Because whatever you can't see, you can't achieve it. So he's a man that can see that this is possible. So how do we now make farming easier for farmers? What do we need to do? So those are the challenges that Nigeria has. And honestly, in terms of capability and capacity, it is important that we get somebody like him there. Like you said, the age. Oh, okay,
yeah.
sorry.
As I can't believe that we are out of time and you have shared so much. Thank you for spending your Friday morning with us on Your View, and I'm sure that a lot of our audience have learned a lot more about this Lagos State administration and what has been done, and more importantly, they've been reminded about the achievements of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to understand why you should be voted for. Once again, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Born in Japan, Ajinomoto is a quality seasoning used around the world, made from a natural ingredient and goes through the method of fermentation, which produces MSG. MSG is also approved by global health authorities like JECFA and other local authorities. Ajinomoto is produced and processed under hygienic condition. Ajinomoto has a strong umami taste, made for moms who wish to provide tasty and delicious cooking to their families around the world to give your meal that totori deliciousness. Ajinomoto, made from sugarcane. Visit.
Are familiar faces.
Long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni, Yeni, Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power! Ginger!
Take it.
Today we'll go here.
Hey, I don't read you.
Are you sure?
Ha. I'm not here to answer questions, I'm here to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait till your age.
I was close now.
I
said 1975.
He said 73. He said 75. Vanessa wasn't even born in 75.
So will I drink out?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Rush on. Thanks for staying with us. We still have Honorable Minister Fashola with us.
If you were driving from Shagamu towards Lagos and you were going at 100 kilometers per hour, you cannot expect that when you get to the construction zone, you'll be driving at the same speed. So people must understand that there will be some slowdown, and becomes very, very important. And that is really what causes the lockdown. Impatience sometimes also vehicles just break down. Sometimes, and so this is the responsibility of the Federal Road Safety Corps, who have statutory responsibility for law enforcement. And one of the things I've said publicly is to begin to enforce compliance with road safety law, especially to certified drivers on the road. A lot of people driving who shouldn't be driving. So that's part of the gridlock and behavior and impatience and all of that. But this will go clearly in a matter of a few months.
So as a follow-up, sir, just to see if this could help, would it have helped if they were moving building materials at night, at hours where traffic was a bit slower? Or, could they even have used lights to light up the area and work at odd hours to ease
all of this have been done at some point or the other. But if you understand construction, there are certain things you can't do at night in construction. So yes, you can move the materials at night in some places, but there are some things you just can't do at night. There are some things that can be done at night. So, and we've tried all of these options, and each one has, none of it is free of its challenges, and we're doing the best we can in the circumstances. Even also, you might not be aware of it, and I don't think the public wants to know this. The public just wants to know when it's going to be done. So prices of construction materials have moved. So again, diesel I think used to be 160 something or 200, and it's moved. So the contractors are saying, look, we can't deliver this. So again, we have to start a process of revising the contract costs. So we've had a lot of that going back to FEC, without going back to BPP, and this is a queue. So sometimes when you hear me complain about our procurement laws and how it has slowed down the development of the country, these are some of the things. But hey, the reason why we have this job is to get it done.
Yes, so still on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, we commend the work that's going on, but as we had already mentioned, there are some human interest issues that come up. And one of the things that have been major, especially around construction areas, is security. Because of the gridlock and, you know, people, some unscrupulous people will take advantage. And I would just like to know, now that the barriers have been put back in place, traffic is back, what would we be doing, what would your ministry be doing differently in collaboration with the other agencies to make sure that in 2023, passengers, commuters do not go through those security issues that we had last year?
I like the in collaboration part because it clearly underlies your knowledge and appreciation of the fact that I am not in charge of the security. And there have been initiatives in the past, and not only on this route, but across other routes too. And we also are aware that subnational governments, state governments, are also mobilizing, and related law enforcement corps mobilized there. One government, I think it was said, they were even deploying some level of technology to monitor, provide surveillance. So all of this is work being done to ensure that ultimate safety of all the commuters who use the road.
All right, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have Honorable Minister Fashola with us. Congratulations on the second Niger Bridge. It opened to the public. I mean, lots of Nigerians were really happy to be able to go home, you know, with ease. Our question is, we're hearing that not all parts of the road are opened, that they're still waiting for it. There's a final phase. And we're also asking, how many more of these big projects across the country are we expecting before the end of this administration?
So, I think I'd like to start by asking us to ask ourselves. The old bridge has had its capacity dwarfed. When it was built, this economy was not this big, the population was not this large, businesses were not this many. And so that poverty will continue unless there is a new bridge. And that bridge has been the subject of promises at the time when there were prolific oil revenues. But this president, this government have said whatever it takes, including repatriating stolen money, we'll put it in that bridge. So opening it up in the solution, which is the construction of the bridge, actually works. Because the choice was build another bridge. And even though there's 3 or 4 kilometers of connecting road, dual carriage connecting road to the Asaba end, there's a construction road that we were using to move materials, and we thought, why not? The bridge is ready, let people use it. And the relief and the impact was very, very well received. And it just shows now we're going to close down. So that was the purpose, to make life better, to reduce journey time. You shouldn't spend 18 hours crossing a 2-kilometer river. That is the whole purpose of that bridge. And it clearly shows that President Buhari has the solution to that problem. Now, in terms of poverty, let us deal with the monetary poverty. For about 7 years during the construction, over 4,000 people were directly employed on that bridge. So that deals with monetary poverty. I had said on this show, 19 million liters of diesel was used to construct that bridge. That diesel was not supplied by Julius Berger. They are subcontractors. So that's how you see an economy. And you can't imagine the quantity of reinforcement, iron, rod, cement, and the supplementary business. Now, on the multi-dimensional side, so what used to take 18 hours to cross, time loss, business inefficiency, it was now a few minutes. So you will see ease of doing business, efficiency, So when people are talking about inflation, I wonder whether we focus on cost-push inflation as a measure of how long it takes to get things done. This is the answer, or this is part of the answer, and infrastructure nationwide.
Just as a follow-up, some have criticized that, this administration did not start the second Niger bridge. At what state was it when you took over, if truly that's the situation?
The abutment, which is where you want to start climbing the bridge, was being constructed, just the abutment. So all the piling works were done by this government. And it really doesn't matter for me whether you say who starts it. We don't own it. Nigerians own it. Yeah. The truth is that Nigerians needed it. There was a period of about 7 years where we were earning over $100 per barrel from oil. If it was such an important priority for you, why didn't you do it? So to now start bickering, oh, you didn't start it, you finish it, it's been done.
And we own it. Nigerians.
Nigerians own it.
There's one other work that you have done that I must confess I wasn't really aware of this until, I read a report where you're saying we're talking about the second Niger bridge, but there is one particular one we should also be celebrating. That's the Loko Oweto Bridge. So that's the bridge that crosses over the river Benue, and it links the north to the south. Please, could you just elaborate on this for us?
Okay, so when I took office in 2015, Loko Oweto was a project that was already awarded, but it wasn't funded, so no work was being done. So I went there to see, and no bridge had been built. And I then told the contractors to just start work, and that we will find monies for them. So if you saw my last trip, you see signs of the sukuk. So that's where the money largely came from, to build that bridge. So when we are talking about borrowing and debt, people forget that there was public debt of over 12 trillion when this government took office. But where was the infrastructure? So if you are talking about debt now, you are seeing a second Niger bridge, you are seeing a Loko Oweto bridge, you are seeing Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, you are seeing 4 or 5 new airports, you are seeing a seaport, you are seeing investment into a refinery to help private sector conclude and stop the importation of crude oil. That's part of what accounts for the debt. And this is the investment that is going to release Nigeria's economy long after Buhari is gone. Loko Oweto is so defining. As I said, there's a lot of emotion, and because it was based on failed promises, and one understands it about the second Niger bridge, it was always a political tool. And so I understand the emotion about it. But Loko Oweto is as big, if not bigger, than the second Niger bridge. Because if you're coming from the east of Nigeria and you are coming to Abuja through Benue and through Nasarawa, you will have to drive before this bridge into Lafia, even if you had no business in Lafia, before you get to Kefi. Now, what this bridge has done is to obviate the need to go into Lafia, and you will cross the bridge from Oshogbedo in Benue, land in Loko, and drive straight to Kefi. That would have cut off 4 hours from your journey time. So if you are talking economics and you are a transporter and you gave 4 hours saving, clearly you will see it over the years later in the cost of goods and services.
Let me go on Twitter quickly. So our tweets are coming in, and everybody on this side of the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway are tweeting and asking the minister why the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway was abandoned as compared to the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. What exactly was the priorities like when you decided the state of which it is now? Most tweets are referring to both state governors on both ends, saying it's a federal road, and so they are absorbing themselves of not investing anything.
Okay, so let me start first by saying that I hear the concerns about Lagos-Abeokuta, and there are people that we should have asked since 1999 why Lagos or Abeokuta was not built. But that's looking back, we're looking forward. I can say categorically on this seat that all the roads that lead into and out of Lagos as a strategic commercial capital of Nigeria are receiving one form of attention or the other. And before I come to Lagos or Abeokuta, let me tell you about Ikorodu to Shagamu. Let me tell you about Lagos to Badagry. Let me tell you, and we have spoken about Lagos-Ibadan. So Lagos to Abeokuta is the last one. Again, the contractor had abandoned site when we came. and we revived it, and we're putting the sukuk into it, and I think this last sukuk, there was about 7 billion in it. So we don't have all of the money to build it. Now, I understand that there is much pain on the Ogun side, but on the Lagos side, work is going on. So the contractor is constructing from Lagos towards Ogun, and it is the Ogun side where you will see all the potholes and the pain, because the contractor hasn't reached there. In a matter of weeks, I am hopeful, touch wood, that we will have a more enduring financing solution, not only to Lagos or Tabekuta, but also to Akure and Ado-Ekiti. In a matter of weeks, we should have a financing solution. And once that is done, whether we are there in government or not, those roads will be constructed.
Okay.
So that is what I am working on now.
Could you explain to Nigerians why we would need to toll the Lagos-Ibadan road, the second Niger bridge? As you know, Nigerians, we don't like to hear that we have to be paying extra for plying our road. After all, it's our own. So why do we need to do this?
Well, I think that, first of all, is to understand that out of about 200,000 plus kilometers, the total quantity of roads that will be under the tolling policy approved by government is barely 5% of that. So it's not such a large volume of roads that will be tolled. But Lagos or Ibadan, for example, was built as a toll road in any event from day one. And when we also want to sustain quality of service, maintenance, and all of that, I think it is only sensible that those type of roads that have high volumes of traffic can be subject to those kind of commercial policies in order not just to raise revenues to maintain the roads, but tolling and its concomitant services are also part of economic expansion and creation. Tolling itself globally is a business. So it's not my children or the president's children who will be managing, operating the toll stations, but that's new employment. We have to continue to open up all of the possible vistas of economic opportunities in this country. We can't just stay with agri, oil, tech, and all of that. We haven't opened up the economy of sports, for example. And so there's so much. We really have no business with the challenges we're facing. But one after the other, once you build the foundation, which is infrastructure, you can't have sports also without journeys to stadium, to theaters, and all of that. So the fundamentals are what this government is putting in place. And I challenge any of our opponents to provide an alternative solution. And I haven't heard it. How can you run an economy without infrastructure? Whether you want to import, whether you want to expand, whether you want to produce, whatever you want to do.
I've always heard complaints about, from the government especially, that people steal materials from sites, where people have been unpatriotic in many ways. Even burning, I hear that some people burn some of these things under the bridges. What have you done to mitigate this going forward?
Well, they manifest themselves in many ways. In terms of stealing, for example, we have gone back to research and development. We've seen that some of the aluminum rails have commercial secondary value, so we've taken them out. You see that most of the rails on bridges now are concrete. Okay. We've seen, for example, that wrought iron, which is used to build grates and manholes, have commercial secondary value. It's just a mentality that we must get rid of. But while it is there, we're providing either using concrete and just welding it up, plastering it or sealing it up to ensure that citizens, commuters, road users don't then get injuries as a result of accidents that happen. But long-term solution is a total education and mindset change starting from the primary school that, look, these assets really are not worth the effort.
Yes.
You are.
So talking about durability again, based on just the example that you gave, the Eco Bridge Akpongo End example, how durable are these new bridges, and to avoid this kind of human factor damages that we suffered there, what are you doing to secure so that there are no activities of human existence under the bridges, so that we don't fall back on this kind of things? And then when is Akpongo Bridge likely to be reopened?
Okay, this is a multi-way.
question.
Okay, this is a multi-way solution. So we can point our fingers at the people who turned the under Akpongwa Bridge into a market, right? And where they were cooking, they were selling. But look, what were they selling around Akpongwa? Alcoholic beverages, they are not cheap. So it was the rich and the elite of this country who chose to shop there.
From under the bridge. The buy from
my neighborhood too.
Okay.
Ulogo, Ofin, and all of that. That's my neighborhood. So again, we can point fingers at those people, yes, but some of the fingers should be pointing at ourselves too. Because by patronizing those markets, we have lost a major transport asset. Everybody is now suffering.
Seriously.
And in terms of when it will be ready, we were hopeful that we could finish it before Christmas But most of the equipment that we imported or fabricated locally to restore the safety of the pillars suddenly had to be diverted to the Ijora fire. When that happened, you see how all those steel frames were made, so we had to quickly, because that became a bigger emergency.
Okay.
In the Ijora fire.
Right.
And so we have to re-import, refabricate. So we're looking at sometime handing over 4 new federal secretariats. They are massive projects in Oka in Anambra, in Lafia in Nasarawa, in Bayelsa, in Yenegua in Bayelsa, and in Gusau in Zamfara states. We will also have the Zuba housing estate in Abuja, 78 blocks, 748 housing units in there. And this is just one part. In the last 12 months, he has asked his ministers to go to their states to hand over the National Housing Program projects, which have been completed. Some are in phase 1, some are in phase 3, depending on the land that we get from the states. And this has happened in many states. It was from those houses, for example, that the Super Eagles pledge and promise made 28 years ago to redeem, give them houses, that this president has redeemed that pledge. He has redeemed that of Westhoff and who are the other coaches. So this is going on in 35 states, and the ministers in each state are going to hand over and commission. People are already buying using our online portal. But that is only part of the story. We have a 6,000 or 7,000 housing unit program across Nigeria completed through one of our subsidiaries, the Federal Mortgage Bank, one of our parastatals, the Federal Mortgage Bank. The Federal Housing Authority is also building in sites and service and buildings in different parts of the country. So, and if people care to go to our website, you will see the details of all of this. So we are lifting as much as we can in housing as we are lifting in the roads and transport sector. But bear in mind also, at the end of the day, whether it's an office, whether it's your house, it's a destination. And you need the transport infrastructure to get there.
But I'll just, can I ask, just, it was already asked, but you did not talk about it, and it's how Nigerians feel about some things when it's done. Like I personally, to hear that, oh, you're building houses in places that we cannot reach, sounds funny to me, but can the government tell Nigerians why that was why that's the option? So
I'd like to know specifically where is this place that
Lagos.
People cannot reach? Where?
We cannot get our own in Lagos.
No, because, so let's understand first how this national housing program started. The terms of engagement were clear. I have letters I wrote to the governors when we started, which was that give us 5 hectares of land and no more than 10 hectares. Give us those sizes of land where there is an access route or where you plan to build an access road. Our government is not responsible for building local roads. We are responsible for building interstate roads. So we will build the federal road that comes into that state. And this was the basis of that partnership. Now, the fact that there is no access road there in a third road does not mean that there won't be. does not mean that there won't be. And if we don't continue to open out, build up, we always remember that we are supposedly about 200 million people. But I don't know if we are paying attention to the fact that we are densing up and we need to open out. And so, again, otherwise...
So I'm hearing you say that it's the government of the state that should open up those rules so that we can access the places that
wherever
given
that
to
kind
you
of problem exists,
right.
we have built the estate road.
Yes. Now build the inter. Okay.
Okay, you mentioned just earlier about building of refineries, building of an extra port terminal, I think. Just now when you were talking about other projects under the ministry, aside roads.
They're not under my ministry, they are
under the government. Okay, please kindly elaborate on that.
So what I was saying was that, look, this economic message and plan of our party, our government, led by the president, is hinged first on building the infrastructure that makes the economy work. If we had the last check, a 30% demand on our need for foreign exchange, which we are not earning enough of. So government has said, okay, Dangote Group, what can we do? It says, I need some investment support. Government has put some equity to close out that project so that we start producing our petrol locally. So if this happens, one of the things you will see is an appreciation in the price of the naira to the dollar because demand has reduced by a component of close to 30%. So, and if you look at the Apapa Orushoki Expressway, that leads to the biggest seaport and the busiest in Nigeria. So that road had broken down in 2015 when we came. So how can you import? How can you produce? How can you export? So the last missing piece is the electricity, and it's a work in progress.
Let me go on a quick break. In fact, you just
electricity.
A few things I want to happen. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ho, ho, ho! Have a deliciously nourishing Christmas with Mamador.
My skin is my identity, my strength. It's unique and deserves care made specially for me. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Even Glow, enriched with 95% pure vitamin C and pulp extract. For visibly radiant and even-toned skin in just 2 weeks. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Even Glow, for your shade of beautiful.
Introducing an all-time mega offer. Get over 50% discount in the Airtel Home Broadband mega offer. Buy a MiFi for just 7,500 Naira and get up to 150 GB bonus data, or the 10,000 Naira router and get up to 240 GB. You can also get the 20,000 Naira router and get up to 340 GB. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband bar. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Daily Dawa, from a daily cost, Daily Dawa. Mama know they use and play. Native taste they car, cause it tastes the normal. They give them Daily Dawa. No need to rinse up, I say no need to grind up. Just tear up. Use up, they stay around.
Daily Dawa is a powdery seasoning processed and packaged under hygienic conditions with long-term preservation to retain its rich native aroma in your vegetable soup, egusi, miyan taushe, miyan kuka, and other native meals. Go get your Daily Dawa at the nearest market today.
Daily Dawa.
Daily Dawa, made from fermented locust beans. Daily Dawa, native taste maker.
Heartburn and indigestion? Try Gestede. My recommendation for the past 26 years, Gestede. Reliable remedy for heartburn, indigestion, flatulence, and acidity.
There's a place where we go to when the world gets too loud. A happy place of laughter and excitement. of moments that gets your heart racing. Of familiar faces. A place where we all belong. Home is where it happens. Find Home on Netflix.
Thanks for staying with us. Sir, let me talk about the Lekki seaport you talked about earlier, the access road, because Lagosians especially are concerned that when the project finally kicks off, it's going to become your area, Lagos, that there's going to be problems. Now, we're confused. Is it the responsibility of the state government to build that road? Because we know there's expansion going on already on that road. And we're saying, if it's Lagos State, what are you doing to support? Because people believe that there's more has to be done so that we don't have what we're having in Lagos Badagry at the Lekki Expressway when Seaport finally kicks off.
Well, you see what we already see, but we need to do things in a process. So just last week, and over the Christmas break, these are conversations my team and I were having, and also with other residents of the state. But I assure you, there are multiple options on the table in order not just to expand the road network, but also to look at additional ways of trucking, hopefully, if we choose and can finance it, a rail service to link to the Apapa rail service, because that one, the Lagos-Ibadan, was going into the Apapa port. So
are spread across Nigeria. And if you think it's equitable, or if just a certain region is getting preferential treatment.
Well, what you allude to now about complaints about, oh, there is no this, there is no that. I haven't heard that narrative since I took office as Minister of Works and Housing, because if you look at what we've covered, out of 36 states and the FCT, we are building in 35, and the FCT, and the only state we are not building is my own state. And it's simply because the government has now given us land, but the land has to be sandfilled. If we sandfill it, it becomes very expensive to deliver. So governor says he's looking for another parcel of land. So all states essentially have been covered. If you look at the infrastructure, whether it is from Abuja to Kano, whether it is from Kano to Maiduguri, whether it is South, Port Harcourt, Bodo Boni, whether it is Loko Weto, whether it is Calabar to Dupani, Ogoja, Ikom, everywhere. And whether it is to the northwest, you will see us there. We're everywhere. And I've been to the 36 states. I've toured the 36 states by road twice. And now I'm making spot visits just to go and see where we are completing.
Right. You didn't talk about the Nigeria-Cameroon border bridge, 1.5 kilometer border bridge. That is
okay, so again, that was a project that was supposed to have been executed after the cession of the Bakassi Peninsula to Cameroon. And part of, I believe, the Green Trees Agreement, that's what it's called, if I remember, was that, look, you must continue to promote international harmony and allow people to be able to move. There's an old bridge there. So this is a new bridge funded by the African Development Bank. We executed the contract. I think we awarded in 2017 or 2018. It's finished. But it's not just now about Nigeria and Cameroon. This is linking West Africa to North Central Africa and to Central Africa. And also because we have now signed the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. So this is also part of that economy that we are talking about. if you go to Aba, Aba is a major shopping destination for people from the Cameroon Republic and the Central African Republic. So just like Dubai is a major shopping center for certain types of Nigerians, our own Aba here is a major place where they come and import and buy goods. So this road makes that link even more efficient now, because it takes you from Cross River into Enugu to Abakaliki.
Okay.
Budget of 18 billion for Nigeria's roads in 2015. What was that going to do?
I remember you said that.
And at that time, oil prices were $97 per barrel, $95 per barrel. So we've done significantly better with the leadership and the support, not only of the president, but also the members of parliament too.
Okay, so I was part of the journalist team that taught the Apapa Woroshoki Express Road construction, and I was shocked to see how complete it was. That it was about 90% complete at the time we taught. And the issues of Apapa did not disappear because the roads are now properly done. The issues still persist. What exactly would you say is the cause of Apapa's problem, Gogoga?
It's now a matter of law enforcement. I was there, I think, on the 29th, either 27th or 29th, I don't quite remember, and we toured the road from Tollgate to the port. And essentially, the Dangote Group, which is the PPP model we use under the Executive Order 7, the tax credit policy, has almost finished the road. What they're doing now is installation of the street lights and the furniture, and also Section 2A between Snake Island and Berger, which we did not want to do initially because it was in very good condition at the time. But what has taken over is motorcycles, markets, people trading under umbrellas right in the middle of a road, people taking over the setback, people changing engine, running mechanic workshop. So all of that must go. And it must be a federal government, state government, and local government collaboration to get rid of all of that. This is just a failure of law and order, and that allows people to do that. And there are laws which make these things criminal or punishable, whether by fine or by some other sentence. So this is change of human behavior, essentially.
It's a question I've been always meaning to ask you for many years, and it's just out of curiosity. When I drive around Lagos, I see a lot of abandoned federal buildings. These are buildings that used to be there during the military regime, and they're there, occupying space. And I'm thinking to myself, can't some of these be pulled down for housing? Can't they be pulled down for converting to commercial hubs? I mean, what are you doing, and what kind of relationship do you have with the government of Lagos State to see how we can use some of these? They're just there, standing, they're like eyesores.
Okay, so some of those buildings are offices or office buildings. Some of them are also residential buildings. So one of the things we have done in the last 6 years is to assist government to even develop an inventory of what she owns.
Okay.
So that's a work in progress. But it's also to point out that the previous government had sold most of these assets.
Okay.
And so they are no longer, many of them that you see are no longer government buildings.
Oh.
Those who bought them are now the ones who are perhaps struggling with what to do with them.
Okay.
No, not that I can recall off my head.
Well, let me take the call. I think I have a caller. Good morning, are you there? Okay, I lost that call. Let's take a quick comment on social media and wrap up on this.
Oh. Yes, so many. So, Omo Federal says, Mr. BRF, please, sir, can I respond? So, BRF, can you please share with us the website of your ministry so that Nigerians can access it?
Google it.
Google it, please.
What's the website for the housing? And then is there any housing project in Rivers State?
Let's stay with housing. Let me start. Have Rivers State housing? They're asking about that.
There is a housing project in Rivers State.
Just speak to the mortgage, because I know there was a time you were talking about the mortgage where you pay in installments. Is that still ongoing, or that's been cancelled?
No. there is a federal mortgage bank, so let's not forget that. And the whole idea of mortgage universally is to allow you to pay on an instrumental basis. So that is still there. What we have done that has changed from what used to be is that the thresholds for qualification, we have lowered them. Traditionally, if you want to take a mortgage, you have to part finance by equity. So if you were taking, for example, 5 million and below, those were the old thresholds, you needed to put up 10%. Some people just couldn't find 500,000 naira. So as a matter of policy, we said, take it out.
Okay.
If the person qualifies on all the parameters, remove the equity contribution so that that person can get the mortgage. And that has opened access to many other people who are at that threshold of engagement. If you needed to take 5 million up to, I think, 15 or 20 million, the equity contribution used to be 15%. And that's a larger volume. We have said, okay, take out 5% out of that. Reduce the entry qualification because those are bigger players and they should be able to have, they're not as vulnerable as the 5 to 0.
Let me take this call from Yakub. Good morning, Yakub. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning to Honorable Minister. There's no doubt about it. Your ministry has done a very wonderful job in this country. And that's to be corrected. I've never seen a minister that works the way you do. But, sir, with due respect, there is a road that's so damaged to us there, especially the road from Abule Egba, immediately after the bridge of Abule Egba, to start from Ahmadiyya down to Togate and down to Suga after Congo Bridge. Yes, coming from Abeokuta to Lagos, it has been done. Well, okay, anybody come from Ifo, it's 30 minutes to get to Lagos. But from Lagos down to Ifo, it is so bad. And then they would do a little job, and then before you know, they will say them there. What is the really problem going on in that road?
Thank you, Yakub. Yes.
The real problem, as I said earlier, if you were listening, is the funding problem. So the contractor wants to construct the road, which is his main contract. So those little jobs that you say they do are relief jobs, just to make it easy for commuters. But those parts have not been reconstructed. They are palliatives, if you like. Because that road has failed completely, it had to be redesigned and reconstructed. So when you see those relief, please do not mistake them for the job having been done. They are relief, they will wash away because the fundamentals of reconstruction have not taken place there. And that is why you can see, as you rightly said, there is completed works on one part, it is yet to be completed on another part. And this work, construction is done on an incremental basis anyway. So, and we will get there. And as I said earlier before you called in, we are looking at some other funding plans that I hope will come into hand soon enough. And once we conclude that, as I said, whether we are still in office, whether I'm still in office or not, if we put that funding plan in place, whoever takes my job should be able to finish.
Okay. Right, that's all we can take. Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
A pleasure.
Hopefully we'll bring you back again before the elections.
I'll be glad to come if you invite me.
You're always invited. We've been speaking with the Honorable Minister